Good morning. We're back for our annual visit to talk about the Lord's Lighthouse.
I'm Connie Keister, Sharon Van Loan. This is Lord's Lighthouse Sunday, and we are excited to have with us the Lord's Lighthouse President, William Earle, who has been a gift from God. Pastor and Dora Cruz, founders, are now in their 90s and have retired from the Lord's Lighthouse and all the required hard work. They still continue to serve God in their own way.
The new president, William Earle, and his wife, Linton, really need no introduction from us. Linton is unable to be with us today, but William, our president, is here. The Lord's Lighthouse has a new life and boost and is doing great things under its new leadership. We present William Earle.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It is a real pleasure and an honor to be here speaking to you today about the Lord's Lighthouse. I have a short 3-hour presentation. No, I'm kidding. I did want to come let you know a little bit about kind of what's been happening lately at the Lord's Lighthouse. Tell you a little bit about myself because I'm still relatively new to the Lord's Lighthouse as well. And I'm sorry that my wife couldn't be here today. She's actually doing another presentation for another group that had previously supported us and asked us if we would come and speak with them as well this morning about what's going on with the Lord's Lighthouse. So a little bit about myself. I am a New Englander. I moved down here in 2013 to take care of my elderly parents who were failing. Retired from my position. I had been a CFO at a company called BBN Technologies. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of BBN. They were actually the folks that did invent the internet, and the people that put the @ sign in your email address. That gentleman, Ray Tomlinson, worked right down the hall from me at BBN, and it was a great company, a great career that I had. But it was time for me to find a new challenge and do something different. So in 2013, I moved down to take care of my folks who were aging and needed some additional help. And I commuted back and forth for a few years and then finally retired full-time in 2015. In 2018, flash forward, my mom was watching TV one day, and it was during that time when there was a lot of issues at the borders with families being separated at the border and immigration issues, and it upset her terribly. And one day she came to me and she gave me a check and she said, I want you to find a charity that will help support these migrants coming across to see if we can help them. And I said, well, that's very nice, Mom. I'll work hard. I'll find a good charity that deserves this, and I'll give them the money. And I checked a couple of places. I was down in Venice, Florida, down further south for a few years, and I just couldn't find a charity that basically served the migrant community. Wonderful charities helping the homeless, but not what my mother had asked. Well, a few months went by, my parents' health failed, and they both passed away in April of 2018, 12 days apart, after 67 years of marriage. It was a tough time, but I had that money from my mother, and I've always believed that the Lord puts you in the place that He wants you to be at the time He wants you to be there. And I had moved back up to Waimama with my wife, and one day I was sending in some paperwork for my parents' estate, and I was over at the Waimama post office. And I happened to look across the street, and there was this long line of mostly women and children, And I kind of looked at it like, what is this, some kind of like carnival or something that they're going to? And then I saw the truck that had a food mission sign on it. And I realized that they were in line for food. And I thought, this is it. So, left my car in the parking lot, I walked across the street, and I found the person that was in charge, and that was Pastor Cornelio. And I walked across the street, and I didn't look as pretty as I look today. I had on an old pair of sweatpants that the knees were torn, an old t-shirt, my hair was a mess, I hadn't shaved in a few weeks, I was into retirement mode. And I walked up to Pastor Cornelio, and as I approached him, he had this concerned look in his face. And he reached out and he put his arm around me and he said, "Do you need some food, friend?" And I kind of laughed and I said, No, I'm actually here to help you. And he kind of gave me one of these. And I could see his mind working of, Lord, I asked you for help for our mission, and this was the best you could do. But he stayed in faith, and he introduced me to his wife, Cecilia, that day. And I said, I have this money from my mother, and I would like to give this to you to help. And she said, well, we don't really take cash here, but if you'd like to meet me at the store tomorrow, next day, I have a list of things that people have been asking for. And this was in July, I think, and it was starting to be back to school time. So they had a lot of requests for school supplies and things like that from the kids. And I said, okay, let's meet. 2 days later, we met at Walmart. We got a couple of shopping baskets full of stuff, food stuff, some hygiene supplies, school books, things like that. And I used the money from my mother. And I said, geez, I'd like to come and volunteer with you. Do you do this often? And she said, oh, we're here every week. So I said, great, I'd love to come next week and kind of see firsthand what you do and what you need and see if I can help. And that started a pretty amazing journey for myself. It's become a true passion to be able to go in and help in real time. And we operate at a very small overhead. And what we do is we provide food primarily, but also things like diapers and wipes and toilet paper and toothpaste and things like that people need. And as I got to know Cecilia and Cornelio a little bit more, I'm blessed to say now that they are some of our closest friends. And to have heard their story, which is really the story of the mission. They immigrated from Mexico, came here with nothing. They were children of immigrant farmers, farm workers, and they've grown, developed. They have a beautiful home now. Cornelio is a supervisor at a food processing plant now. They've raised 3 girls, one of which is finishing nursing school as we speak. She's doing her clinical work now. I was privileged last week to attend Leonard High School, where their 2 younger girls, they're twins, were inducted into the National Honor Society. So they are truly the American dream and the American spirit. And they're now giving that back to another generation who are coming to the mission and needing support and help. And it's been a true blessing in our lives to be able to kind of help and do that. A lot of exciting stuff has been going on in the last year or so. Some of you know the history of the Lord's Lighthouse. It's bounced around a few places over the years and survived through the pandemic when we were ordered to shut down for a while. but we are now full-time back over on Hickman Street in Waimama. We're right next door to the Nuevo Pacto Church. The shed buildings have all been relocated there. The land was cleared. So we've got a new home. It is rent-free, thanks to the Nuevo Pacto Church and the graciousness of Cecilia and Cornelio. And we operate Thursday mornings is our food distribution morning. We currently serve about 150 to 200 families a week, and that translates to between 450 and 500 people, individuals a week. And we provide foodstuffs, personal hygiene. Everybody gets something, food. We've been very, very fortunate. We've teamed with a couple of local food banks, one in St. Pete, the St. Pete Free Clinic has been providing us a tremendous amount of food on a weekly basis. We actually rent a truck from U-Haul Wednesdays. We drive to the St. Pete Food Bank. They load us up with 4 to 5 to 6 pallets of food. We bring it back to the mission. We have a wonderful volunteer group that comes in and helps us unload the truck, get things organized into individual bags and things, and then we distribute on Thursday mornings. And if we have anything left, we actually go out to some of the migrant camps and distribute the rest of the food there. So everything gets turned over kind of every week, and we've been doing a lot of very good work. We provide Bibles in English and Spanish, and let people know that we have the affiliation with the church next door, and I think that has gone a long way as well. We hope we are in our kind of permanent home for a while, but we do have needs, which is a little bit why I'm here today to speak with you. We currently have 3 sheds. They're about 10 by 15, and they operate kind of as our storage areas. But as you can imagine, being picked up and moved multiple times over the years, the sheds themselves are probably 25, 30 years old. They are kind of disintegrating, and we built 2 new ones. It was kind of like that scene in the movie Witness, where you have a community get together and do a barn building. And we built two sheds by hand, got an electrician to come out, run electricity for us, because we have fridges and freezers for the cold storage. And that was a great improvement, but we've still got others that need to be replaced. Each shed cost about $10,000 to put together, equip, get storage units inside, get electricity, all that kind of stuff. So that's one of our infrastructure wishes. As I said, we're renting a truck from U-Haul. That's expensive. We'd like to get a new truck if we could, or at least a used truck that belongs to us, to try to reduce some expense there. We recently replaced, my wife and I bought 3 new freezers and 2 new refrigerators to help with kind of the growing need of the community. And those are up and running. That was the good news. The bad news is we overdid the electric, so we had to upgrade the electricity coming into the sheds as well to help that. Right now, that's going okay, but I can see that we're going to maybe need a little upgrade there as well. So those are our kind of immediate wishes. Right now, we're fulfilling the needs. Everybody's getting food that needs food, and that's a wonderful thing. We're trying to work with some additional food banks as some backup support if things do start to slow down on the donation side. And then you might say, well, what's the long-term vision? Long-term, what I would personally like to be able to do is purchase some land somewhere in Waimama. There's still a lot of land available, and build a small community of tiny homes. and give these folks that come through, and a lot of these groups, migrant groups, come through, and they work with the crop cycles. So right now we're in potato season and strawberry season, and groups come in kind of to handle all of those picking chores, but their living conditions are just sad. They're deplorable. And the vision that I've had is to someday be able to put together a community that will give these folks a chance to live safely and with some dignity, and give them a place to live, to call their own while they are here and part of the community. And some are transient. Like I said, some move with the crop cycles around Florida and Texas. But a large group are calling Waimama home now. And it's our vision, and I share this with the board and also with Cecilia and Cornelio, to be able to provide them with a better living situation. And we're working towards that. I'm tapping some of my old work colleagues and people that I work with in the business community over the years to try to get that capital campaign going and see if we can do something there. But in short, this has been just a tremendous gift to me to be able to help. And as I said, I've always believed that the Lord puts you in the place that you need to be at the time you need to be there. And that one morning, dropping off the paperwork for my mom, seeing what was going on, just, it's been a wonderful, really almost 4-year now, pleasure to be dealing with the Lord's Lighthouse and doing the work that we've been doing. So if you find it in your heart to help, we would love to have you come out, see kind of what our operation is on Thursday mornings. We're generally out early. People are lining up at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning to get their food bags. We get there pretty early. We get everything set up. You've maybe seen some of the pictures on the poster board of kind of the lines and what we do. We'd love to have you come out, take a look and see what we're doing. And as I said, Wednesday we unload the trucks, and it's hard physical labor, but getting the stuff organized into individual bags is not quite so bad. And I'd love to answer any questions that you might have about the Lord's Lighthouse and the work that we're doing. No questions? Wow. All right, I did well. But thank you so much. I wish I could stay for the second service. My family and I are actually going on vacation, our first kind of getaway vacation since the pandemic, really. And my wife's parents are down visiting us, and we're heading out to Port Canaveral to go on a cruise together, our first vacation together in a long time. So unfortunately, we won't be able to stay for the second service, but I hear it's being taped. If you see anybody coming in for the second service, please let them know that the camera adds 10 pounds, and there's like 5 or 6 cameras on me. So, but again, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you also for your support. Thank you.